I'm Rose, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Haworthia. As you may know, I know nothing about succulents or cacti, so I asked Rogier to help us out and also to show us some very cool Haworthia. So this is Rogier actually. If you haven't seen the previous video we did together, you can actually find that here. But he is the manager, right, of the greenhouses here in the Hortus Botanicus in Leiden, the botanical gardens.
Also a bit of a plant nut myself. So
yes.
These Haworthia, we do not really grow in the Hortus, but I grow them at home.
Okay.
Because I'm really a lazy grower. I can admit that. I hate watering plants. So at home I have succulents and anything that I can grow in a container or in a plastic bag that I don't have to water it for like once every month is okay. I can survive that. So that's why I grow very delicate orchids in glass jars and Haworthia.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were your personal collection.
Yeah, they are succulents like jewel orchids. And we said, like, what is a jewel orchid? What is a succulent? Succulents are not necessarily related to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Hoya are also succulents sometimes, right?
Hoyas, often they grow on the branches of trees and on rocks. On moments it can be a lot of rain, and on moments it can be very dry for a time. So these plants have to adjust to this, and therefore you can consider a Hoya type of succulent as well. So it's an adaptation to a drier period. So a cactus is also a succulent, but it's a type of succulent. You have aloes, stapeliads, Haworthias. You can just continue. But Haworthias are all one genus. There is some change going on in taxonomy, so names can change. These are all typical Haworthias. These plants used to be Haworthia, but they have now been separated into their own genus, which is called Haworthiopsis.
Okay.
This happens with plants. Actually, with aroids, this doesn't happen a lot. Just plants get lumped all together in one genus or split into many small genera, and you can imagine that you wake up and you read like a scientific article like, from now on all monsters are philodendron. That can happen, and then from that moment you have philodendron deliciosa. Well, it can happen.
That's basically like what they did with Sansevieria, which are now
Dracena, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's because they are genetically related to each other so closely that there is no barrier. Even though they look very different, they are genetically so close. So these are real, true Haworthia. These are Haworthiopsis. Even though the cultivation is pretty much the same, I focus now on
the real ones.
So
we take those out.
We take those out. So what you see here is a group of very nice compact plants, and the Haworthia types that I like the most are the glass Haworthias. The most famous ones are the Cooperis. They can have different shapes. These are Japanese cultivars, and these are wild Cooperis. They are smaller.
So Cooperi, the glass like that, that means that the top is see-through, right?
Yes. So if I'll get my phone, take this one for example, and I put the light from behind, you can see that they are see-through.
Unfortunately, as you can see, these images with the GoPro are very unclear, so I'm using some photos of Rogier. He's an amazing photographer to overlay the footage here.
That they are glass-like, and all these species have this effect to a lesser or bigger degree. Now this has a reason. Even this one, for example, I will tell a little bit more about this one later, but it also has the same effect. But why do these plants do this? This has a very important reason. They are succulents, so they live in an area where there is not a lot of water. So when you are filled with water, like these plants, you have to be careful that you don't lose it, that there's not like a gazelle or a zebra eating these leaves.
Right.
So you can do all kinds of tricks. You can become poisonous, disgusting, you can make spines like a cactus does, or you can just hide yourself, and that's what Haworthias do. So what happens, for example, you see that better with the wild forms like this Haworthia Cooperi, that the plant is almost buried under the plant. Only the tips of the leaves, the glass parts, are coming above the soil. Now they are growing in soil which is very clean, but in nature they usually grow in a clay-like soil. So when it rains, the parts between the leaves are also covered with clay, so only these,
you see the little blobs and that's it.
Only these blobs comes out, and when an antelope walks there, he sees these blobs and he thinks, oh, that's stones.
Yeah.
So it's a very good camouflage, but also for the plant, the chlorophyll, the green cells, are inside this leaf. And when the sun is shining really brightly, the light is also broken by sort of crystals inside these leaves, and the light is very evenly spread inside the leaves. When they receive light, it's perfectly filtered, and it's a nice way to grow in a very hostile environment. If a plant would grow on Mars, it would probably look something like this. Haworthias are mostly native to South Africa.
So pretty warm and dry.
Not necessarily warm. Of course, in the summer it's warm, but some parts of South Africa have really cold winters. So Haworthias can take almost frost. I wouldn't suggest it, because especially when there is too much water inside the plant and the frost will expand the water inside the plant, you can lose it.
Yeah.
But if you have a greenhouse or a windowsill that is very cold in winter but frost-free, that's perfect for Haworthias. It's actually better than a windowsill above the central heating where you have 20 degrees throughout the winter. Even though they can take that. I grow them like that. I grow them in a windowsill above the central heating, and in the winter the heater is on, so they get 20 degrees plus.
Yeah.
And they can take it really well.
Okay.
So these are these Cooperi types.
They're so weird looking.
Yes.
I like it.
I think when people want Haworthias, it's usually this group. What they see online. Also, when I post these types on my Instagram page, it's usually the photos that are the most liked.
Yeah.
People go crazy about these. But people also make hybrids, especially in Japan, Korea, and East Asia. They are very far with making hybrids, and this is a Cooperi cross.
Yeah, that's very pretty.
Yeah, so they cross the Cooperi with a nice glass effect with another species, which is a spiky leaf, and you get this spiky Cooperi plant.
So, I like that one.
Yeah,
I don't like Haworthias normally, so.
No, but it's like a flower, and I like Haworthias because they stay small, so you can cram a lot on a square meter. Which I'm a plant hoarder. Yeah. And you know,
it's a lot more space effective than.
Yes, if you have one Monstera deliciosa, you can grow like
a million.
70 of them. Yes. Yeah. So then if you go to other species, there are more species with this glass effect. For example, Haworthia picta, Haworthia bayeri. Oh yeah, this one is also quite nice. It's a watermelon. So these are all different glass type of Haworthias. They are not called glass type Haworthias in general because they have a harder structure, but they are still very popular in Japan. Especially these bayeri and these truncata types are very sought after, and you have cultivars of this which are worth far more than, for example, your average Monstera obliqua. People go crazy when a Monstera obliqua goes for 1,500 euros. You have Haworthias for a baby plant that you can pay 5,000–6,000 euros for, something that fits on one finger. And it's also not a hype. It has been like this for years already. So these are very collectible. I can turn on the light for a second to show the different types of glass effect they have. Especially this one, watermelon, is very nice.
Yeah, whoa.
And then truncata is only the tip of the leaf, which is glass-like. So if you do it like that,
it looks like it's cut off.
Yes, that's actually what truncata means. Truncate is cut off. Yeah, it's very abrupt. And then the bayeri is more difficult to see, but if you look like that, you can also see that it's glass-like. Yeah. And the picta is also similar. It's also glass-like.
A little blob of see-throughness.
And this is Haworthia bobby, which is a wild species, which is a little bit glass-like. Yeah. But it's especially nice because it has these hairs. So bobby is a cool species to make hybrids with. Just imagine if you cross a bobby with a Cooperi, you will get a Cooperi with spikes. Yeah. Also, if you can see, it's bobby with 2 eyes. This is something I love to rant about. So,
I remember.
English talking people, they have this tendency to say Haworthia bobbii, which is ridiculous. So I'm not even going to discuss it. It's ridiculous. It's bobby.
Bobby, but would you say Bobby or would you say Bobby?
Best it's just Bobby, 2 E's, but like in a subtle way. You don't have to stress it too much.
Not like
but
that.
Bobby, Bobby eye, lobby eye.
Forget the eye.
Forget the eye. Oh my, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, here it is. Yeah.
Yeah, in the front.
Yeah. If you call this Anturium forgetti, people will actually correct you. Yeah. They will say no, it's forget the eye. Yeah. But it's not.
I've been corrected because you told me it's not the 2 eyes, and then I said it, and people like.
It's a Latin, and even though people say like Latin isn't that language, yes, but we actually know about some letters how they are pronounced. And never, ever, ever is an I pronounced as an I. It's pronounced as an E.
Yeah, like in Dutch. I think I learned from you that if you're Dutch and you pronounce it like a Dutch person would, then it's normally more correct
than English. It's better than English, but of course if you're Spanish or Italian, it's even better. But even those languages, they have changed a lot. I think Italian comes close, and they will never say Haworthia Bobbia. They will say Bobby.
Bobby.
Bobby. Think like a pizza. And then other non-transparent ones. Here we have 3 nice ones. For example, these are the really fuzzy types. There are several species of Haworthia which are very fuzzy like this. Yeah. And they are beautiful on their own. They don't need this glass effect, which is very nice. Haworthias have 2 resting periods. That's in the peak of the summer and in the peak of the winter. Okay. So they like to grow in spring and autumn. What happens when they go in their resting period? They go sort of pull back like a little fuzzy ball, and then when they get water again, they will emerge. So this one just received some water last week, and it's now opening up again.
But so in the height of summer, you wouldn't water it?
No, you can. Actually, I can show you here. I have 2 examples of the same species. So this is both Haworthia Cooperi, and this one I already gave some water that it woke up from its dormancy, and this one I didn't give water to show you the difference. This is what it looks like in the summer. Okay. And it looks horrible, but this is pretty natural. Yeah. You can, if you want, water them in summer, sparingly, not too much. And then they will look like this throughout the summer, which is prettier. Yeah. But then again,
but they will be stronger in...
No, not necessarily. I'm just lazy.
Okay.
So it saves a lot of work. This is Haworthia groenewaldii. And this is named after an Instagram friend of mine. His name is Jannie Groenewald, and he found this species on the farm of his parents. Oh. And it turned out to be a new species. I just started watering, so it's a little bit dehydrated still, but it's slowly filling up. But it's very beautiful because it has these stars in the leaves, like a starry sky with all these little dots.
The little dots.
And especially when the leaves are full, when they have full water again, this is one of the prettiest Haworthias you can find. It's not so glassy, but it's very pretty to look at. And
where did this friend live? Which country?
South Africa.
Ah, yes.
So he's a South African, and he lives in the area where Haworthias lives. He loves posting these because then he is walking on the farm and he finds a new spot where they are. So, and it's good because this way they are also protected. Yeah. He knows where they are and he just let them grow there. Yeah. This is a special one. This is not glass-like, but it's very, the shape is very adorable. Pretty. This is the smallest Haworthia on the world. This is Haworthia parksiana, and it's also one of the rarest ones. This one is critically endangered, but luckily it's very easy to grow. Okay. So it's far more common in cultivation than it is in nature. And as you can see, it makes lots of babies. So when I repot this, I can take this plant apart. I have many, I can give them away. But it's a very cute species.
Yeah, it's like a little palm, kind of.
Yeah, and the thing is, even though the plants are very different, even if you take the Haworthiopsis, when you see the flowers, they are exactly the same. That's so remarkable. It's very hard to distinguish them by flower. These ones all have small, white, greenish flowers. Okay. The flowers are not impressive. I love taking the flower spikes off because for me it ruins the shape of the plant. Because it's not like a tight flower spike that goes up. No, usually they go like to the side and then the flower somewhere over there. It's very, very, very messy.
Of course, these are quite special ones, but is the care similar to Haworthias that people get from the garden center?
The same.
So they need a rest in winter and in summer?
Yeah, if you want, and if you don't want that, you can water them throughout the year. Very important is that you make sure that they don't stay wet all the time. So make sure that the soil is dry before you water again. And as long as you see that there is a lot of turgor, I call it, that there is a lot of tension in the leaves, if you see that the leaves are full with water, you don't necessarily have to water. Okay,
and these grow, in like rocks, basically.
Yes, I have a bag here, which is my favorite potting soil for these. I can show you like that. I cannot read it. You have to be Japanese. This is Akadama. Okay. And Akadama is a type of soil from Japan, which is a sort of clay from a volcanic eruption, I believe. And it's very grainy, so it has the benefits of clay, that it's very rich in nutrients. It's very easy for plants to absorb nutrients, but it's also very airy, and that's exactly what these plants like. So I love mixing Akadama with other substrates, like for example this is pumice gravel, which is also from volcanic origin. Some types of kitty litter which are not perfumed and they don't turn into a clump, you can actually also use. But if you use small pots, normal potting soil is also okay. The secret is not so much in the type of soil used, it's more in what you do with the soil. Like I said before, it's important that before you water it again, the soil must dry out. Yeah. So Of course, a stone pot with a very inorganic soil will dry out very quickly. If I use a plastic pot with inorganic soil, it will dry out a little bit slower. If I use a plastic pot with organic soil, with peat for example, it will take a long time to dry out. So if you use plastic pots with organic soil, use small pots.
Yeah.
That's very important. Sometimes you see that people plant an Haworthia in a very big pot in potting soil, and then it does nothing. It never grows. It just stays there.
It doesn't die, but it doesn't
Exactly.
live.
Yeah, and that's usually when it means that the pot that you use is a little bit too big.
Okay.
This is a Cooperi which is splitting up. So I'm not sure if we can already divide it, but we're going to see if we can split it up.
Okay.
So we're going to take this one out. This is the label. I love collecting Haworthias like this because this one has locality data. So it has been collected in Mgwali in Stoeterheim, South Africa, and it has also a collection number. This is not important for people, but when you are turning into a true plant nerd, you will learn that this is very nice.
Okay.
Somehow, I don't know why, but it's nice. So as you can see, it has lots of roots, big roots. That's always a good sign.
So it would be...
and it's already falling apart. Here you see these little pieces. So this is a good plant. I'll just leave this alone as it is.
Yeah.
But this one maybe... this one is also separate.
I didn't see that.
So these are little babies. And these are still stuck. If it doesn't go, you can, but I never do it because you stress the plant. And you know, I'm not a nursery, so I don't need 600 of these plants. So what I do when I have these small ones, because you know, like anyone with a windowsill, space is one of the rarest species we have. So I clean them up. I remove all these old leaves because now you have them in your hand, which is easier than when they are growing in a pot. Yeah.
Because that would annoy me. I would try and get them off, but
yeah, it's perfect. Well, you can use tweezers to pull them off. It's very therapeutic. How you call it? Relaxing. Yeah, to do that when you are, you know, stressed. Removing all the dead leaves. I have a nice one over there. You can spend half an hour doing that. So, and this one is also, so this one doesn't need dividing, but still all the old leaves need to be taken off. If you damage the roots, it's no problem because they are very easy to recover. It's a good moment to check the roots for root mealybug. These are small white well, like typical mealybugs, but they live on the roots. Yeah. If you have them, this is a very nasty pest. So if you have them, make sure you get rid of them as soon as possible. But
you're quite rude with these roots, like quite rough.
You know the saying, well, you're Dutch. We have a saying in the Netherlands, gentle doctors make smelly wounds. Yeah. I just translate it literally, but it's like with plants, usually it's the case. For example, many of these roots, when you disturb them, they die. And you don't want a lot of dead roots in your pot. So that's why if roots are soft, I can pull them off easily. I just remove them, leave some basic big roots where they are, and this is perfect. You don't need any more than that. Okay. Haworthias, actually, on a side note, we're not going to do that now, but especially the hard ones like this, Haworthia bayeri, for example, you can pull off one of the leaves, let it dry out for a few days, and then plant the leaf, and it will make babies. And this is a way that you can reproduce, for example, bayeri, but also the truncata.
Yeah, I've seen that with other succulents.
Exactly.
Not these, but yeah.
I have to say that, for example, with truncata, it goes really slow. For example, from a leaf cutting to a plant this size, it can take up to 10 years. So, for example, a sedum, you have a plant within a year. If you have a fast-growing one, but this one, it will take a long time.
Holy that would not be something for me. No. I like my plants to be fast.
So I'll put some of this soil here.
Can you get this in Europe?
Yes, and the cover already tells you where. Bonsai stores. Oh. Bonsai growers, they use this soil because it's perfect for bonsai trees, and you can buy different types of soil. This is Akadama. And this is the hard type Akadama. You also have a soft type Akadama, which will turn into clay when you water it. Yeah. That's not very good. You can mix it through the normal Akadama a little bit, but why bother? Just use straight Akadama, which is one of the cheaper bonsai soils. This is still probably like 20 euros for a bag. Okay. So I have
little pots.
Some pots here. Important thing with soil like this is if you have a pot with a large hole, cover it with a little piece of cloth or whatever,
yeah.
or even a little bit of moss or peat in the bottom, because these are grains and they will slowly fall out of the hole of the pots.
Yeah, I have that with ceramis.
Exactly. Well, it's the same. Actually, I think you can grow Haworthia and ceramis very well.
Okay.
Yeah. So you just hold the plant in space, in the spot where you want it, and you just add some soil around it. You can plant it as deep as you like, but the more natural way is that the leaves are more or less
not too high up.
Not too high, no, just a little bit above the soil level. So this one is like a normal plant that you repot. This one is done. With the baby ones, of course, unless you want 600 pots, you can pot them all up separately. But I always do it like that. I plant one for a little bit, add some soil, I get another one, I plant it a little bit on the back, and I add some soil, and then the last one.
So they sit together, and you start with the biggest one, I guess, and then...
Yes, because it has the biggest roots. I always start with the one with the biggest roots, and then when they are all three more or less on their spot, I'll add soil in the cracks and holes wherever they are until the plants are really stuck. It's important with plants like this, also with orchids, that they are stuck. They don't like to wiggle like this. So when they wiggle, add more soil, push it a little bit, that it's sturdy, because roots have sometimes difficulty to grow if they are moving. So a root likes to be stable. So like this you can grow it, you can keep it for probably another, well, probably a year or maybe 1 year and a half. I did a pot like this last year with a little, I think 5 babies. Oh yeah, 5. And this is what it looks like now.
Aww.
So they are bursting out of the pot.
Oh yeah.
This took 1 year, yeah, from this size to that size.
Okay.
Yeah, but normally it can take 2 years. It depends a little bit on the clone. There are varieties that grow faster and there are varieties that grow much slower. But this one for me was about a year, and these ones need to be taken out of the pot.
Rescued.
Very important is that you put the labels with them.
Did you make an extra label for that one?
I actually happen to have 2. I don't know why. I think it came with 2 labels.
Oh, good. That's easy.
This one is from Bolo Nature Reserve, which is one of the better clones. And I think, look at the roots.
Well,
it has very healthy roots.
They're really white and chunky for such a small plant.
Yeah. Don't be too gentle. But you see the roots are very, very healthy.
Yeah, even I can see that, and I know nothing about them.
Yeah, and as you can see here, this plant is just starting to grow, but it's already making its own pups.
Oh, yeah.
They're called pups, they are baby Haworthias. So this one, if I pot this one up in its own pot, it will have lots of babies next year, and so does this one. So that's why these ones, they grow really fast, and they are good giveaway plants. So if you want one, you can pot one up. Shall I pot one up for you?
Yes.
Oh, you're not so much into
I will try to keep them alive.
You know, if you kill them, we're going to make like a shame video. I'm going to start my own YouTube channel, and I'm going to call it Shame on Roos. And then
she cannot keep them alive.
I'm going to visit your house, and then no, it's okay.
He doesn't know where I live, you guys.
You know what I love to say? The best way to grow plants is to kill them. But that's maybe a little bit sensitive for many people.
No, I agree. I learned a lot about killing, like the Hoyas. Yeah. I killed all the Hoyas in the beginning, and
it's pretty boring if you get a plant and it grows like hell straight away. It's like you don't actually know what you're doing, but it just grows, and then.
It's so pretty. It's like a little rose.
Yeah. So. This one is for you.
Oh, but you have to tell me that so I can write down the label.
Yeah, well, we have to write the label later. I don't have a pencil here, but we can do that. And this one will make lots of babies. So next year you can do this for yourself.
I can pretend I know everything.
Yes, yeah. But a lot of Instagram plant people do that.
I know everything about Haworthia.
Yes, I own one for a week. I'm going to do
I'm an expert forever and ever. This is awesome.
Yeah. So. I think that basically sums up the information about Haworthia. They're pretty easy plants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun. Thank you so much for showing us and explaining some questions. If you guys have questions about Haworthia, please comment them in the comments, and I will either ask Rogier the questions or I will let him answer himself. If he is on YouTube, I don't know.
I have a channel, but just to look for videos, not to post them.
Okay.
I have one question, like what do you mean with it's never obliqua?
Oh, this is a shirt designed by my friend, because people always say that they have obliqua, but it's Adansoni.
Oh, but I had this plant for you, and it's really an obliqua, but if you think that it's never an obliqua, I can take it home with me again.
A real one?
Yeah, this is a real one.
Wait, that's from the Bolivian form that you have here?
Yeah, yeah. You want to grow it?
Yes.
Oh, well, here it's for you. It's a weed, so...
It's a weed!
This is a weed. Yeah, this is not the Peruvian one, but I hear from Mick that the actual Peruvian obliqua might actually not be an obliqua, so I'm not sure.
Shit.
It's very confusing.
Oh,
we were talking about names changing all the time. I think it's one variable species.
Okay.
Because you have all these intermediates, so it's easier to call it one species. But this one is actually closer to the type of obliqua, which is, I think, found in Suriname, and it looks like this.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Wow.
You're into aeroids, so you're happier with it than I am.
Going home with 2 plants today. That's so cool. I don't know what to say, you guys. I'm blushing.
Well, you can say it's sometimes an obliqua.
Sometimes it is obliqua. We need a new shirt. Georgia, design me a new shirt, please.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more planty videos. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Goodbye. Dus hij begint nu te groeien en dan...
Super cool. Super cool.